Meta, and none of this would be possible without wonderful support from our sponsors. A big thank you to Dis Northwest, promoting growth in the sport of Ultimate and instilling the spirit of sportsmanship at all levels. Also provided by the Got Your Back Seattle club teams. Aria, precision disc technology for a world of difference. 5 Ultimate, the premier provider of ultimate apparel and gear. Play hard, have fun. Cut Camp, an overnight summer camp for high school age players who want to learn from the best coaches in the world. Go there. Game Point Performance, online training tips and programs for ultimate athletes. Train, recover, repeat. Friction Gloves, consistent grip in all conditions. Spike Ball, join the movement. And Fulcrum Media Group, we exist to share stories that matter. The sun is going down, and the weather has cooled off just a little bit, but it is still hot out there. Expect to see a kind of heat timeout around 4 points. But we have a matchup from last year's YCC finals, the Seattle Silly Saurs and the Foggy Bottom Boys. This is a fun game where we have a lot of rivalries. People know each other. They know matchups and are competing. A really fun matchup to watch is actually going to be Jack and Tony Veneri, who matched up last year. Or not, I'm sorry, not last year. Last weekend when Tony was playing against Sockeye and Jack playing with Truck Stop. Doing an amazing job. I'm going to be really excited to look out for that 24-24 matchup and see how it goes this game.
Absolutely. Seattle and Washington, D.C., always a fun game to watch, no matter in any division. Always fun when we see Seattle, Sockeye, and D.C. Truck Stop matchup, when we see Scandal doing work in the women's division, having a great run last weekend at PEC. And then last year, we got to see the works of Space Heater, the brand new mixed team from this D.C. area. I know I saw Jenny Faye and multiple other top-level club players in this audience coming out here to support this incredible youth game that we're about to watch tonight.
And it's so exciting to see this kind of club ultimate getting to support this youth ultimate, and youth ultimate really just exploding in DC. Such high level talent, and really now it's youth ultimate supporting club ultimate with this amazing young talent, making sure that the DC area is stacked with good young club players.
Yeah, and we're excited to see the Seattle boys come out tonight. This is their third or fourth game that we've streamed to you on this tour. It's hard to keep track at this point, but we love watching the Seattle team play. They showed some great resilience yesterday, coming off the bus and having to play immediately in that hot game yesterday. They had great defense, getting multiple blocks, a lot of run-through blocks, some intense pressure defense, but also the ability to bracket, the ability to switch with their teammates. Incredible defense from Seattle. And then we were loving their deep game yesterday. They were taking the deep shots, and then when those weren't working anymore, when they didn't need to take them, they were able to get those big yardage gainers under. So a fantastic job from Seattle so far. I'm excited to see what these DC Foggy Bottom boys have to do today in this game against Seattle.
And you can tell the Foggy Bottom boys are loose and excited and ready to get going. But you never know that first couple points, how much butterflies. They're kind of waiting around to late night game, looking forward to this game. And now, as we get ready for the first point, the butterflies start to kind of creep up. And we'll see how quickly they adjust. But I know these Foggy Bottom boys have played in some big games, and I'm expecting them to come out hard and fast.
Yeah, excited about the opportunity to see some butterflies today. You and I tried to get into the butterfly exhibit at the Smithsonian today. We didn't want to pay the $7.50, but we might get to see some butterflies in the first couple of games today. I know that's a tough joke, but it's a long day. It's a long tour. And that's what we're working with right now. And here's the poll just in time. Seattle pulling down Foggy Bottom boys, centering the poll. It looks like we have mainly person, but Seattle is happy to bracket this side stack. And here we see them able to stop the initiating cutters as the DC Foggy Bottom boys take a deep shot into the end zone. Oh, and a huge D from Seattle. Excellent work from Seattle, able to contain this side stack from the Foggy Bottom boys.
And a really interesting pull play here. You had a side stack, but a deep shot from the handler set. Really trying to sucker in that defense and then giving yourself a lot of space deep to go deep. Great defense by Seattle. You can see an offside poach from the Foggy Bottom Boys, really trying to gunk up that middle and force them to go backwards or side to the side. Looks like a pick was called. This is going back to June. Swinging to the far side. Jack has a receiver deep. Great mark by the Foggy Bottom DC to make sure that that huck doesn't go. Another shot off. Atkins, big speed, curving away, unable to connect.
That's a great deep cut that we see from Atkin. Excited to see that deep shot go up to him. A couple of turns. Maybe we are going to see some butterflies during this first point after all. It looks like Foggy Bottom Boys are getting into their vert stack. So we saw them start with a side stack. Now they're starting in the middle of the field, and a deep cut from the first player in the stack with some help from the Seattle defense.
And a little bit of a miscommunication poach. 14 leaked deep for Foggy Bottoms, and the switch came, but then they kind of switched back, and he was open for a little bit. Again, another deep shot from the front of the stack. A big shot deep. Running down, IG there. Big time shot off the fingertips. Really interesting. Vert stack and side stack. The DC boys are kind of cutting from the front, or actually taking off deep from the front. Very untraditional vert stack, but kind of giving a lot of space, and kind of from these sneaky spots, you can kind of tell these offense are like throwing these counter punches to get these different deep looks. Disc low, trapped on the sideline. Jack leaking deep, disc floating up, has time to run under it, jumps into the end zone for the goal. Seattle on the board with their break. Jack assassinating everyone right now, you can tell. Just out there crushing teammates. Big leap. Jack getting like a good 5 yards with that leap just to get in the end zone.
Yeah, showing off his speed, able to keep his positioning in front of the defense as we see number 24 and Foggy Bottom Boys attempting to catch up with him. And then this celebration, we're going to have to ask the players at halftime, where did they come up with this celebration? Because right now I have no idea, but I am loving the energy. Again, this is a break that we saw from Seattle. It's a huge confidence booster, starting the game off with a break out here tonight.
Oh, the poison darts? You have to. It's also been a long time on the bus, Abby. I feel like there's a lot of time for these boys to just creatively think about what they might do while they're on stream. So big break out of the gate for the Foggy Bottom Boys. Classic kind of moment of kind of butterflies. They had multiple deep shots. I love the deep look, and I think they're going to continue to be aggressive, especially kind of cutting out of that front of the stack or from that handler spot deep. I'm not going to be surprised that DC is going to keep taking those shots, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to connect on those shots. But first point, you know, you've been sitting for a while. It's going to come out flat, but I'm pretty sure DC is going to come back, punch back, and get that break back.
That would be exciting to see for sure. The Foggy Bottom Boys started in a side stack last point. I'm excited to see whether that continues throughout this game, whether they're going to mix it up, maybe run some horizontal pull plays, or maybe just grind it out from their vert stack, from their horizontal stack, whatever it is. We're excited to get another look at this Foggy Bottom Boys offense as the pull comes up from Seattle.
It looks like they're split stack. They're going to sweep across with a guy coming across to the open side. There's one leaking deep. That shot not going. Swinging back to the middle. Now they've transitioned into a horizontal. Spacing a little bit of an issue right now for the Foggy Bottom Boys. A little high count. Float to the side. Great throw to space there. Foggy now, DC now in a vert stack. We've seen a lot of different vert stacks. Great deep shot look. Opposite third. Into space. With time, can he get there? Oh, just a little too far.
A huge forehand as we see number 8, Jonah Lee, making that bid in the back of the end zone, unable to come up with it, but a fantastic effort from Jonah on that massive forehand. Both teams are looking for these deep shots, and they're leading to exciting plays out in the field.
And talking about butterflies, I really liked how Jonah set that cut up. He went break side and then kind of curled back to that open side, kind of a butterfly cut. As we see Seattle shooting to the end zone, gaining yards with speed for their second break. It was open side, and then kind of a turn the page cut. a great job here. As you can see, shifting, throwing to that open side. Great D. Nobis, knowing that he has the break opportunity, throws this great forehand to the break side. As you can see, David turning, making sure that he's running to that opposite and then running onto that flick and sliding gracefully on that turf. Big time spike.
Yeah, and that, as you said, that's 2 breaks for the Seattle team, able to come out fired up, firing on offense. They're not afraid to take these deep shots, and they're using the whole width of that field. That forehand started on one side of the field, end up on the other, and into the place where that DC defender was not able to make a play. If you're this DC coach, you're coming out to the line, what are you telling these boys after you've been broken 2 points in a row to start the game?
I think Tyler right now is just kind of looking in the eyes of his teammates, telling his players to kind of lock in. You know, they've thrown 2 or 3 kind of risky hucks, right? And they're not cherishing the disc. We want to shoot, we want to be aggressive, but you have to connect. You can't just give away the ball with that. I mean, the looks were there, and now they just have to connect. It's kind of a mental thing. It's like the difference between like really being focused or just kind of like coasting through. Tyler, actually a young Seattle player now in the DC area, doing a great job of giving back to his community. You know what's really funny? I coached Tyler when he was a young, kind of pretty small, maybe 60-pound middle schooler. Same great smile and great attitude. An okay Frisbee at the player at the time, but him and Henry played on multiple small fries teams together, and it's really great to see both of them out here coaching and giving back to the community. Nobis with the pull. Low laser pull to the end zone, but a great distance. Foggy with 2 leaking deep, coming under, creating great open space for number 24. One-on-one ISO. Let's see if they shoot. I really love how creative DC is kind of either pull plays or they're kind of creating these different ISOs that let their defender or their player, their cutter, go one-on-one in big open space. Big shot, curving away, great throw, and going up to grab it. Great grab.
Yeah, great grab by Patrick Kenny, number 29. Here we see number 19, Jace Dean with the disc. He's looking downfield. He sees this window opening up, and he's able to put this OI forehand out into space onto Patrick's back shoulder. And even though the Seattle defense is there and in the area, that's just a throw that you're not able to defend very well. And an impressive point from Jace Dean. We saw him get that wide open under earlier in the point. He recognized that there was a slight bit of a poach and that he was able to go get the disc, and you love that initiative from a player like that, able to go get the ball, and then the confidence that we saw with Jace to take that OI forehand shot into the end zone is fantastic.
And there you get a great shot of all the fans coming out, not only for the U20 girls game right before this, but sticking around for the boys. It's so much fun to play in front of a crowd, and it's so cool to see all the support that the DC youth is getting from fans, from coaches, from all the volunteers and all the parents. A big shout out to making it out on this hot day.
Yeah, and a shout out to all you fans who are joining us on the live stream. If this is the 7th game that you've been watching with us, thank you for spending so much time. If this is the first game that you've been tuning in, thank you so much. We'll have a couple more games coming at you tomorrow too, but right now we've got another exciting game. Our second game of the day, we see Seattle is up 2-1. DC Foggy Bottom boys hoping for a break opportunity on this defensive point.
Big spin pull, putting Seattle in the back of the end zone. Coming down in a little bit of a junk zone, we have a 3-3-1 now by Foggy Bottom, really trying to prevent a pull play or just kind of gunking up the middle right now. You can see Seattle working with 2 handlers back right now and trying to kind of overweight the kind of 3 up from the Foggy Bottom defense. Trapped on the sideline, kind of a scary moment. Jasper finding a great lane in the middle right now. Let's see if Foggy DC kind of transitions out of this, or they're going to stick to this. It looks like they're out of it right now. This transition part is so difficult to do, and a lot of times the difference between a really great transition and kind of an okay transition is like, can teams gain 10 to 15 yards? A big shot by Asaf to Soren in the end zone, and it pulls him down. What a great throw. That is a tight, small window to throw up the line, and Asaf made that decision quickly. Soren doing a great job of creating just enough space for Asaf to fit in that huck.
Absolutely, and I love this handler movement that we saw. We see Asaf getting it, shooting that OI forehand on the far side of the field. Soren going up strong with 2 hands again into this corner where the defense is close but still unable to get to the disc. But really, I want to shout out the handler movement we saw from Asaf. He was calm, cool, and collected in that zone offense, not always calling for the disc and needing it, but moving off of his players, finding those open spaces, and then continuing to move and able to get that tricky up the line shot onto the break side on that far side and able to put up a nice shot into the end zone. He's one of these up and coming players in Seattle. I believe he's going into his junior year of high school and is a practice player for Seattle Sockeye this year, so definitely someone to continue to watch not only on this tour but in future years in club, at the youth level, and then potentially later. Again, these are the players that we're going to see on these U24 teams later. They're already making a difference for some club teams around the nation, and just exciting to watch this incredible youth ultimate in front of us.
Yeah, and Asaf is also just a really fantastic teammate. We have a shot here now, Tony, too, on the Seattle Sockeye roster. Fantastic player. You saw him grow up in the Seattle program, similar to the youth program that Tyler grew up in. And Tony, a menacing handler, defender, great throws. I remember watching him at a YCC tryout when I first moved to Seattle, and I went, who is that kid? He's flashing deep. He's jumping lanes. There's these things that, like, I just haven't seen a youth player ever do, and Tony has just blown me away with his skill and his maturity as well, along with all these other players on the field. Another kind of handler deep look. Again, Foggy attacking deep space and ISOs from really interesting position, but Isaac getting the run through D. Isaac has been just getting these run through Ds. Yesterday, getting a great run through D on the first pass and then getting bookends. Incredibly fast, working really hard on his footwork and positioning to make sure that he gets it. Tony on the disc, looking for another break from Seattle. For Seattle. Swinging back to Jack. Good defense by Foggy. Great upline cut by Tony. Tony looking for the end zone. Atkin finding the space, and another break for Seattle.
Tony, I'm very impressed with his ability to get open up the line and gain so many yards off this cut. It's a great throw from Jack as he turns to look at Tony right here. Tony takes off. Jack puts this inside out backhand out to space. Tony's able to run onto it. He hasn't even stopped moving yet, but able to put that disc into the end zone. A fantastically timed cut from Atkin there, and overall a great point for Seattle as we see them break again.
And it's a really difficult upline throw, too. Jack does a great job of kind of getting low and floating that to space. It's not an upline cut where it's coming across the face of the thrower where you get to kind of throw it flat. You have to throw it kind of soft into space, and a really tough throw. A great job by Tony and Jack and Adkins to just have that timing to get that that break. We're going to take a quick break. But we want to really make sure that we get a chance to thank our sponsors. 5 Ultimate is really doing an amazing job of making sure that this tour is possible, not only providing ultimate apparel for our gear, but making sure that everyone's decked out. So we want to give a big shout out to 5 Ultimate, and we're going to take a quick break.
Welcome back to this timeout. I believe it is a heat timeout due to the heat that we've been seeing on the East Coast. We are making sure that these players are staying safe today. Casey, I know it's been a hot day for us alone, just watching these players play on the turf out during today. And As the sun is starting to set, the temperature is starting to cool off a little bit, but it should not deceive you. It is still hot and humid out there today.
Yeah, and absolutely, I think safety, more than the excitement on the field, safety is the utmost important part of this game and this tour, to make sure that we get to bring you amazing ultimate, but to make sure that these athletes stay safe. They are doing, pushing their bodies to the limit, doing all these workouts, track workouts, lifting, but when they're on the field and there's this much heat, it's so important that safety comes first. Right now, DC, though, gets a chance to kind of catch their breath. Seattle has done a great job of coming out of the gates, kind of punching them in the mouth, getting 3 breaks. Multiple great looks by DC. I think it's a little disheartening because they've had some amazing looks. I love the pull plays and kind of sets that DC has run, but right now just not connecting, whether it's one thing or another. I don't really know. This is kind of a tough moment as a coach when you kind of want to maybe scrap some things, or you want to maybe try something new, but what you have done feels like it is working, but right now the scoreboard is telling you a completely different story.
Absolutely exciting to see what DC Foggy Bottom boys are able to put together on this offensive point. They just had that heat timeout. They're able to kind of like cool themselves down a little bit, maybe talk some strategy during that heat timeout, hopefully able to come out here and put something together. Even if the Seattle defense throws something at them, ideally they have an option B that they can go to. Ideally their teammates are playing heads up, being aware of the Seattle defense. It looks like it's coming down mainly in person, and trying to take advantage of whatever this defense is giving them.
So DC coming down in a vert stack, a great kind of pull play. It was almost like a reverse where they sent someone deep from the front stack as almost a bait, but now again, just Foggy Bottom boys really attacking that deep space from the opposite third in such a creative and kind of decisive way. Foggy gaining a ton of yards, now 20 yards out of the end zone, looking in their end zone set. This is the first time they got in their end zone set, and we're going to look to see how it's getting run. This must feel really good. Their offense just feels super high powered at this point, and they're back in their comfort zone. Great move, great dump D, great throw to space, looking for that next continued break for the goal. Foggy Bottom boys looking strong and powerful at that point.
Yeah, you love to see that as a coach. Even if they're not able to score off of their pull play, they're able to march it down the field 70 yards, stay calm and collected in the end zone. Look here, look there. Nope, it's not open. Let's swing it to the far side of the field and hit someone in the chest for a nice, easy clap catch. And that's a great point for these Foggy Bottom boys.
And number 24, who threw that break, is another truck stop player. Really, you can tell just Seattle was trying to body up, play physical, and Jaquez looked fantastically comfortable in that moment, saying, nope, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to jab step here, get back, and then immediately throw that break. Such calm, cool, collected in that moment, and I think it's such a big point for DC to say, yep, you're right, our offense has been working, we're clicking, and right now we just have to continue to do our job, and the scoreboard is going to reflect that for us.
Absolutely, and you talked about those deep cuts that we saw from the Foggy Bottom boys. I think that they are from these great angles, right? They're coming from a different third of the field. They're not starting too far deep, but I think there was a couple times that they had multiple people cutting deep at that same time, and that allowed the Seattle defense to be able to take that away. So I think if DC is able to kind of clean up their offense just a touch more. Right now it's working really well, but can we see it be a bit cleaner so that they're able to score slightly more efficiently? Again, a fantastic point for them, but excited to see how their offense continues to grow during this game.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what this DC D-line is going to bring. They've thrown a couple kind of person points, and I just want to see what they have up their sleeves. I could see their coach knowing the matchups and matching people up very intentionally. I love this kind of chess match right now. Big shot deep, floating up. Soren has a step, 2 people over there, and goes up and grabs it. Soren with his second goal and is just hunting that end zone right now. I love going up with 2 hands too. It wasn't like you had to go maximum, but Soren, you can see the big shot, the big flick huck goes up. It's a little high. Soren does a great job of tracking it. Know that multiple people are coming, and he goes up big with 2 hands. Not only does that help you grab the disc when it's not where you don't have to go to your maximum height, but it allows you to kind of body out multiple people when you go up with 2 hands. And if someone bumps one hand, you always have that next hand. A big body by Soren and hunting and finding that end zone.
Yeah, and a fantastic throw from Jasper. We've seen Jasper be a big part of this game for Seattle. Yesterday he had some big grabs, but also shows what he can do in the handler set. He's able to stay chilly as a handler, take the shots when he wants to, and we saw that shot was out to space, out in front, so Soren was able to run onto it. There are a lot of things that all came together from that entire Seattle line that made that such a beautiful point.
And it's going to be interesting. Seattle has looked like to move the disc with ease both times, both offensive points. I'm going to be interested to see what the DC coaches and teams do to kind of react. We're in this kind of mid-game. We've both kind of showed each other our hands of like, hey, we like to shoot deep. Hey, we're going to do some pull plays to open up our deep space. So how do we react in this moment? Seattle has really established their deep game. DC has shown that they really do a great job of attacking and opening up creative space. So now in this mid-game, what do you do to react? And Seattle has gotten multiple breaks, but I think Seattle wants to kind of continue to switch things up on DC. We see DC looking like they're going into a side stack. My guess is it's going to be a side stack flood right now. I don't know, there's something, a gut reaction right now. I know I shouldn't be like calling out too many things, but this just feels like a flood. As you can see, they're going into walking back into a vert stack. I feel like there was a pull play called, and they're just calling out of it right now.
I like that they do that. I think when there's a side stack and the pull goes out of bounds, the defense is able to set up very easily. So I really like that they were able to adjust and go into a vertical stack as we see a deep shot go up for the Foggy Bottom boys, able to bring it in bounds, just outside the end zone, about 5 yards out of this end zone.
Hammer, far side, unguarded, and just a clap catch. What a great grab, and just stick it on your head with the kick. Aaron finding that great space, recognizing he's poached, trap far sideline. Seattle pushes really hard and kind of poaches that lane. Recognizes it. Matthew recognizes it. McKnight just bombing that hammer, and just right in the breadbasket. Also to shout out that pull play, it was really interesting. They started in a vert stack. They all flooded to the break side as the handler. Again, this is maybe the 3rd or 4th time where they've gone a deep shot from their handler space. I love this play. A lot of time handler defenders are used to guarding this upline strike, but not guarding this big deep look. And also, you as a handler defender, you peek back, okay, they're in vert stack. You look at your defender, and your player just runs right through the middle, and you're like, wait, there's a stack there. You turn around, and all of a sudden they're in a side stack. A really great play by DC.
Yeah, and I think difficult to guard as a defender downfield too. Even if you're heads up and ready for the flood, you're waiting for it to come out of the stack. You don't always have your eyes on those handlers who are streaking behind you. So again, a fantastic call, as you were saying, Casey. And now we're taking a look. We're kind of getting into the second quarter of the game, right? Seattle able to break multiple times. They're up 5-3, but they can't fall asleep at this point. DC is out here grinding, and we want to see another clean hold from Seattle. But overall, just a fantastic game thus far, and excited to see who is able to be the team in the second quarter to grind it out until halftime today.
Yeah, and you know what? Those breaks, I think, came from early butterflies where DC had a great person open deep or had the look and just overthrew, or there's a touch miscommunication. DC has looked really good this game, and their cutters have looked very scary. I think Seattle has to really kind of step it up on defense. I know they're up, but they need to do a little more right now because they're not taking away the looks that DC are trying to get. DC in this kind of junk again. It's a 1-3-1 with just a lot of switching with the last back. Great defensive look. I love this junk look right now. Forcing Seattle to kind of think and slow down their deep game. All the pull plays are kind of dead once you have this kind of junk look. It looks like Foggy is going to kind of transition out in this moment. It's going to be a slow transition back to person. Seattle gaining yards on the doorstep, looking for a soft in the end zone. Not in right now. Seattle a little spacing trouble right now and unable to find it. Soren again hunting for that end zone, but just throwing a little too far, and this is a great opportunity for DC to get a break.
Yeah, this is exactly what you're looking for as these DC players are continuing to grind on defense. We saw their junk zone. We saw Seattle still looking calm when they transitioned into person, but then DC able to come up with the D in this end zone shot, and now they're trying to march it 70 yards down the field for a break.
Again, with a deep look from their handler set, a great pull play, and just kind of like a call. DC, incredibly impressive with these calls. They've thrown like 6 or 7 different kind of stop disc plays that open up deep looks from really creative different spots. Great upline cut, looking for a deep shot. Nothing there. Look to the middle. Shot deep. Has a person, and that is a break. A sliding grab by Aiden. Great job finding that space. Seattle tried to switch at the last moment, came a little late. As you can see, Jacquez, and I'm sorry that I'm kind of screwing up your name, pump faking, throwing this great touch forehand down the line into space, letting his teammate run it down, makes kind of this diving catch, but it was a really fantastic throw.
Yeah, and Aiden doing a great job of wanting the ball. You can tell that he was able to blow by that defender, knew exactly where he was going to go, and didn't slow down until he had the disc in his hands for that DC break. And now we've got ourselves a fantastic situation. DC able to put 2 points in a row on the board, pulling to the Seattle team. We've had so many wonderful games on this tour so far, and I am so excited to bring another one to you all tonight.
Yeah, and just a huge shout out to the DC boys right now. They are like really opening space. You can tell that their offense is incredibly disciplined right now. They're attacking from creative spaces, but I'm just shocked at just kind of the sets and like the patience, and then it just seems like the person on stage is attacking deep in all of this open space.
Yeah, absolutely. These DC boys working very hard for each other. It's very evident on the field that this is a team that is willing to work for each other. It's not about one person. It's about what can all 7 people on the field, plus everyone who's on the sideline, do for each other. This is an incredible program. As you said before, Seattle versus DC, always a fun game to watch, and proving so tonight. We have DC pulling the disc from the top of your screen. Seattle boys, another opportunity on offense. It's a big pull that lands just out of bounds. I believe Tony Veneri going to pick up the pull.
And it looks like Seattle going to be in a horizontal. And DC in that kind of junk set again. You can tell that there's a last back with people kind of sagging off in the lanes. Seattle kind of flooding deep, but DC kind of in this zone trying to kind of corral Seattle into the sideline. Great spot by Darby finding these little pockets inside the zone. Seattle moving it really well through the middle. And it looks like DC is trying to transition out, but right now Seattle has just raced through and is now back on the doorstep. But this is where Seattle had the turnover last time. Let's see if they can capitalize, or DC kind of locked down again. A big time D by DC doing another kind of goal line hold. Those goal line holds are so impactful. Oh no, it's a float to the space. Okay, still good for DC. Has one leaking deep. DC trying to get organized, swinging back to the middle. Again, a great deep shot from the deep cut from the weak side. DC, incredible discipline on their deep looks and going from really creative spaces. Back to the middle. DC moving the disc really well. Swings to the far sideline. Great inside shot. Looking for the next break. Another inside break. Tony there. Tony immediately going. Bootstrap. Oh, unfortunately too deep. Tony looking to fast break immediately. A little bit of a miscommunication. Will Turner, bootstrap, unfortunately turned on the jets maybe a half a second too late. Didn't see the shot go up.
Yeah, an exciting but surprising shot from Tony. He got that disc and immediately threw that to Bootstrap as he took off deep, just a little bit too far out there for him as we watch these DC boys work it up the field again for another opportunity to score.
Wow, a hand block by Jasper. It looks like Seattle's trying to go quickly. Again, this is always a dangerous moment where there's a lot of people kind of running past the thrower. Chaos looking to get in the end zone. So 2 times DC has held and gotten a turnover in the end zone. Seattle boys struggled with their end zone multiple times. Let's see if they can kind of clean this up and get this red zone hold.
Looks like possibly a violation that often happens as we're tapping the disc in. We see Will Turner continuing to cut, this time the other direction. That was a fantastic inside break from Jasper, able to get the disc to Will, turning upfield, and immediately throwing that disc into the end zone. We get another look at it. Again, Jasper was the one able to get the hand block, this sneaky inside out backhand. Will able to throw that backhand. Ooh, it's a backhand on the forehand side, which I know is some coach's pet peeve. But it works out for Seattle in this case.
At this moment, I really want to thank one of our big sponsors, 5 Ultimate. 5 Ultimate is the premier provider of ultimate apparel and gear, and as the official partner of the Team USA, currently competing in the Under-24 World Championship in Germany, 5 is committed to producing uniforms of the highest quality. For Ultimate players, by Ultimate players, play hard, have fun, 5 Ultimate.
Yeah.
And you can really, that kind of picnic backhand is kind of what I like to say when you're throwing it backhand on the forehand side. But it's such an interesting thing where, like, footwork when you're throwing that is so important. Making sure that you can still get power from your core, really still snap it. But also, if you have the separation and kind of space from your mark, you can really throw that with precision.
Welcome back. We have a timeout on the field. We've seen some exciting plays on the field from both the DC Foggy Bottom boys and the Seattle Silly Saurs. An incredible game coming at you today. Again, this is our doubleheader. We watched an exciting Universe Point game between the Seattle girls and the DC girls rogue team before this. And we've got another exciting game coming at you. Seattle able to get a couple breaks in this first half, but DC answering with a few breaks of their own.
Yeah, and I just want to shout out, I know the Seattle boys and girls are really tired and had this long tour and on a bus ride, but the Foggy Bottom boys are coming off of a tournament play, and I know played 2 games today, and I'm just shocked at just kind of the athletes and their athletic ability to still have the legs. I was watching this game assuming that they were fresh by just the way they were cutting and attacking space. And to know that this is their 3rd, possibly 4th game they played today, I am just, my jaw is on the ground and I feel exhausted just watching them.
Yeah, showing some resilience, but also this is great practice going into their season later this year. Sometimes at tournaments, you have a couple of games, and they've got this long bye until you got to play maybe a showcase game later. Maybe it's semis, maybe it's finals, maybe it's something you have to move to a different field, play under the lights, in front of the cameras, and that's what we're seeing as these live stream games get to be more popular. There's this like variance that Ultimate players are not necessarily used to, so great practice for these Foggy Bottom boys as they go into the rest of their season.
Foggy again with that split stack. It looks like a kind of fake flood. ISOing that handler again in that side stack, doing a great job. You know, Tyler, shout out. You are throwing some awesome pull plays and some like double looks. This is just a well-designed kind of offensive coordinated game. I'm going to go back and just kind of take some notes on these pull plays and counter pull plays right now.
Probably learned from the best, Casey. Shout out to yourself right there.
I wasn't teaching Tyler any pull plays. Foggy now transitioning back into a vert stack this whole tournament, or this whole tour, we've seen so many variations of this vert stack. The teams have run 3 handlers back, no handlers back, 1 handler back. You've seen like really close vert stack. Foggy kind of now transitioning to no handlers back except on the sideline right now. Oh, and just off the fingertips, Seattle with an opportunity to break. This would be a big break right now. Foggy has really been in the groove, and their offense is looking really high power. I'm not sure how many opportunities Seattle is going to get on defense to find these breaks. This is a big moment for Seattle to try to capitalize. Big shot deep, 2 defenders on there. Bracket in there, great sandwich play, a tip D, great job by the DC defenders. Really classic when you have 2 defenders to just sandwich the big tall player in the middle to kind of take away the height, to kind of restrict mobility, and they don't get that opportunity to jump at all. Great textbook defense by DC.
Definitely. DC able to take a breath here. They had a turnover near their end zone earlier as a big shot goes up, headed towards their end zone. Well defended. We're able to see who's coming down with it, and it's the Foggy Bottom boys with a quick backhand into the end zone. Number 5 on Foggy Bottom boys, Will Tober, showing off his height and his athleticism, getting up on that beautiful shot. Just a fantastic point. DC Foggy Bottom boys showing their resilience through this longer point, able to take a huge deep shot and get a quick score right afterwards.
And a really great, almost like triple cut by Will. He kind of used his length to jab, and then got Jack to really bite on that second move, and then just took off deep. That disc went up in the air, and Will did a great job the whole time, not only tracking the disc, but making sure that Jack was in a really difficult position to make a play at the disc. Again, Seattle trying to race and get that second defender in the play, but Will bodying out both people, coming down with it, and then immediately knowing that 2 defenders were on him. There was an open player in the end zone to turn and immediately have the composure to score. Great job, and great throw by DC.
Absolutely. I believe that is 2, possibly 3 breaks from these Foggy Bottom boys. We've got Foggy Bottom with 5, Seattle with 6. Seattle again putting their offensive players out on the field. We see Kelly Johnson talking to her team right now, instilling that confidence, knowing that they put in so much work this season to be able to come out here and play these top teams on the East Coast. I'm excited to see what Kelly draws up for this team right now. We've seen some incredible pull plays so far. We've also just seen some incredible offense in general. Not necessarily relying on those pull plays 100% of the time, but showing that they're able to move the disc from side to side, able to get these quick give and goes, but also take deep shots kind of whenever they want. So excited to see what Seattle does to get a clean offensive hold this point.
And big shout out to Kelly, not only to just draw up some amazing pull plays, but to put on and do so much of the legwork for this whole tour is a really remarkable to know that Kelly, a fantastic hub player, also like doing workouts and putting on logistics, making sure that the bus was here, making sure that the Fulcrum media crew was able to stream all these live games, doing an amazing job. Big footwork, swinging back to the crazy play, a little bit of a greatest. Let's DC kind of go on a fast break. Short field, great opportunity for a break. DC moving it well. Great patience and attacking inside break. Soren with the D. Seattle looking to go quickly. Big shot. Multiple defenders. DC on the back. Soren has a position. Just reading it. Grabs it on the end zone line. It's a little bit of a scramble right now. Soren being patient. Finding his players. And for the goal. Soren all over the place. Will Turner, bootstrap, sneaking in the end zone, but Will, with multiple defenders on him, patient, knowing where the disc is, not getting thrown off by all the defenders, and then to know that, okay, be patient on the end zone line, find my receivers. Multiple looks got taken away by like jumps and switches, and he is staying calm, cool, and collected. And then Turner sneaking in for the goal.
Soren Dahl, we've seen him do this all games during this tour, but especially tonight. He's come down with some huge grabs deep We saw him get that D in the end zone, and that's a huge changing point, right? This allows Seattle to go up 7-5 instead of DC tying it at 6s. You get that end zone block, take off deep. We're seeing that the Seattle handlers and Seattle players in general incredibly willing to trust Soren, and he's showing off his ability to read the disc and his ability to use that big body to come down with these big time grabs for Seattle.
Absolutely, and I think it's really important. We've talked about these kind of red zone holds. DC's gotten 2 Ds in the red zone, and that's Seattle's kind of first D in those red zone. It's really important. You really want to look at the efficiency of teams in the red zone, and also like the efficiency of Ds in the red zone. There's kind of a special art to like playing end zone D, where you know they're close. Maybe you're taking a little more risky kind of D looks or flashes to kind of steal a D, because those kind of big Ds to an immediate huck are just such huge momentum shifts in the game.
Absolutely. Seattle's got to be fired up after that point. Here we see Seattle's defense on the line, hoping to get a break. It's a huge momentum shift if they're able to get this break and take half 8-5. On the other side of the field, we've got the DC Foggy Bottom boys lined up on offense, hoping for a clean offensive hold.
DC going into a horizontal. It looks like a flood from the middle. The shot's coming from the far side. Another great pull play that transitions into a side stack. I love it. Seattle doing a big kind of junky switch, leaving a few handlers unmarked. It looks like there's some miscommunication. A pick called on the field. This looked like it's going to go back. But man, I'm just blown away. You go horizontal with a flood from the middle, deep, from the weak side back into a side stack, and now they're in a vert stack. This is fun. Fun ultimate to watch. Oh, and a drop, an unfortunate drop. But I love that immediately head on the swivel. Make sure that you're back on D. You don't hang your head right now in that moment. June with the disc. Looking to the corner. Tony on the doorstep. Seattle looking back to the middle. June calling for the cone. And Atkin finding the cone. June calling his shot. Tony catching. I think a really great subtle moment here is this corner is tough. Tony takes one look to that cone and then says we have to attack back to the middle. Swinging back to the middle creates this great cut by Grayson. I know he didn't get hit, but that opens up so much. June yelling, get to the front cone. And Adkin using his speed. Great communication too. Both Seattle players were open, and you could see Adkin yelling, I got it, I got it. So many times there's moments where you say, you got it, or maybe the other person, but just having that assertion saying, I got the ball, I'm going to catch this, and then that trust from the other Seattle players say, okay, cool, I believe you, Adkin.
Absolutely. Will Johnson doing a fantastic job being heads up, pulling in that cut to go back into the stack, and that's the second time that we've seen Atkin make a nice, crisp cone cut in the end zone. Oftentimes that is a thankless position as we watch the Seattle Voyagers coaches cooling down the Seattle team. Again, it is a hot day. Thank you to the Fulcrum crew that has been making this possible. Seattle able to take half 8-5, and we're going to take a quick commercial break to thank our sponsors.
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis.
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
promise that I will love you forever and always.
Jinx, and he's in.
Welcome back. Thank you to all you viewers who have been tuning in for this incredible game against the DC Foggy Bottom Boys and the Seattle Silly Saurs. We got some silly names coming at you today. We want to give another shout out to one of our incredible sponsors, Cut Camp. Cut Camp is an overnight summer camp for high school players looking to develop their ultimate skills in a fun and competitive setting. Cut is the perfect place to find lifelong friends from across the country and improve your ultimate skills together. Come learn from the best players and coaches in the game. If you love Ultimate, you can find out more at competitiveultimatetraining.com. Cut Camp. Go there. Now we're going to take another look at Cut Camp and why so many of their members love it there.
My name is Arnush Chivaharian, otherwise known as Java, and I am the founder and executive director of Cut Camp.
My name is Jaden. I'm from Toronto and I'm 18 years old. I came to Cut Camp because it's a great opportunity to get better at the sport I love the most, which is Ultimate Frisbee.
You can't find anything as unique as what you have at Cut Camp. It's an experience, honestly, you won't get anywhere else. With the coaches and the people that come here, everyone wants to be here. It's just an environment that is just so amazing to be around.
I think what made me want to become a coach most was probably Java's enthusiasm. I also really wanted the opportunity to hang out with some of the most knowledgeable players in the country.
We bring in coaches from all over the nation, and I'm talking about the best players, top-notch players that are playing the game at the highest levels, such as Goose and Jesse Schaffner and Claire Chastain, Opie Payne, Khalifa El Salam. I could go on and on down the list of these amazing coaches that have given up their time to come here and to really give back to the youth ultimate world and to help grow it and make it amazing.
I came to Cut Camp because I am very passionate about Frisbee. I want to do it for a very long time, and the people that I know who have gone through the program said it was really good, and I thought that it would be a great opportunity for me to learn from these pro athletes that I've been looking up to for so long, and to just take advantage of the opportunity and just, I don't know, learn.
My name is Chrissy Lind Hunter. I'm Filipino-British, but I grew up in Hong Kong. I played for the GB mixed team, but I now currently live in Malaysia. Over the last few years, I've been playing with GB mixed. I now play for Black Widows. We're going to the US Open for the first time. We are first multi-Asian country women's team to go to the US Open. I actually enjoy that the coaches get a chance to see what the kids want to do and see what their strengths are, as well as what the coaches skills they can bring, and make an experience for these kids that's really personal and tailored to them.
Well, Cut Camp is growing at an immense rate. Just 4 years ago, we only had Chicago. Now we are in North Carolina, Portland, Oregon, Portland, Maine, and Toronto, Ontario.
Welcome back. Thank you to all of you viewers who have been tuning in to this incredible halftime that we have been watching. Thank you to everyone who's been watching this whole tour. Again, this is Game 7 of this tour. My name is Abby Abramovich. I'm so happy to be joined in the booth right now with Jody Smith. She is a member of the Washington Area Youth Ultimate Committee. Jody, thank you so much for being here today.
Sure, it's great fun. I wouldn't miss it for anything.
We're so happy to have you in the booth. Can you tell us a little bit more about WAFC as a program?
Sure. WAFC's been around this area, including programs in Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia, where we are right now, and Maryland for a number of years. And what I am particularly part of is the Washington Area Youth Ultimate Committee, part of WAFC, where we have really doubled down this past year and a half into the growth of the sport. It's been so fast among our youth, which we consider middle school through high school players.
Awesome. It's so great to learn more about these youth programs as we watch Seattle have an offensive hold, come down and score in the end zone for that first point after halftime. Jody, can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved with WAFC?
Sure. I got involved as a parent. So when we in Northern Virginia really didn't have anything for middle school, my first daughter was coming up into middle school, went to one of the summer camps, found a coach, and they decided to build the middle school team and the middle school league in Northern Virginia. We joined in Arlington, which has been around for quite a while, and continued to play games with them. And now my daughters are in high school, and the first one just completed the game we just saw, and now some of her classmates are playing in this game.
Awesome. That's incredible to hear. Shout out to all of you players who are watching right now. You're really excited about Ultimate, but your team or your school doesn't have a team yet. This just shows that if you put in the effort, maybe go out there and find a parent and you're like, hey, I'm really excited about this. Can you help me? And can we get a team going at our school? Incredible the amount of growth that we've seen in this DC area. Can you tell us a little bit about the community that has shown up to watch these games tonight?
Well, it's been pretty incredible. As many of you have heard, this day has been about 110 in the shade, and yet parents, a lot of alums, a lot of college students that are home that have played on these teams and with these kids have come. Actually, we have a lot of alums who have faced off against Seattle in the YCCs in the last couple of years. So this was an important matchup both for the girls and the boys. For many of us, the opportunity to see a game like this in our hometown is a wonderful opportunity. We really respect the program that Seattle has. They've been in it for a long time. We look to them often to see how they're working their program, see what we can do to get ours better. And the best thing is that a lot of these kids who have played it at YCCs before and tonight saw them again. They're friends. They match up, they play hard, and they stay friends and connected. So for so many reasons, it's a wonderful sport for us. And that's why so many come out.
That is truly incredible to hear. I know I can speak as a former YCC player. There are still times that I remember my current friends, meeting them at YCC, meeting them at these different youth tournaments. Jody, it was so great to hear about your experience with WAFC and the Washington Area Youth Ultimate Committee. Thank you for joining us here in the booth today.
Thank you. It's great fun. Go watch the rest of the game.
Thank you, Jody. We saw an incredible D from Seattle in the end zone, an acrobatic D. We've got Tony Veneri with the disc looking downfield, hitting his Seattle teammate, a big backhand, not able to connect. But some great work from both teams that we've seen so far in this point. Will Johnson putting up that backhand. He's been working so hard for the Seattle team so far today, and now DC Foggy Bottom Boys able to put in the work, hoping for an offensive shot right now into the end zone.
And again, just always really impressed on like how DC is creatively getting these kind of dead disc plays, kind of like a flood from the handler set with a player coming under from the mid of the stack. A really creative way to get off the sideline. Really shout out to the offensive coordinator and just this whole coaching staff for the high level of just kind of ultimate playbook that they have.
We're seeing a couple turnovers right there. We had a huge bid earlier from DC Foggy Bottom Boy, not able to hold on to it, and now again right back where we were. DC Foggy Bottom Boy is picking it up on the sideline. There's been a couple turns so far. This is the time to take a moment, say, all right, what are we going to do to clean up our offense right here? We have the disc, let's value it so we can get a score and then take a break.
Again, DC moving it very quickly up that open side, looking to get off that line, but finding the cone. No need to go break side when you can just go open side. Foggy Bottom with a great hold and really high-powered offense after multiple turns to really kind of settled in and attack with your legs.
Aaron Rosenthal able to bring in that score for the Foggy Bottom Boys. Again, we saw multiple turnovers on this point. Number 38, Andrew London, staying chilly with the disc, putting that flat forehand out into space for his teammate to run onto it. And that's the type of offense that you want to see. After you've had these multiple turnovers, how are you able to chill out a little bit, take your time, clean up these cuts so that's a little bit easier for your throwers to hit you out into space instead of having to make, oh, maybe this really like creative outside in forehand over the top of the stack to the other side. Nice, clean offense from the Foggy Bottom Boys to end that point.
And something interesting to think about in this game is like how lighting affects players' kind of like throws and also catches. Right now, the game started with no lights, kind of a low light with lots of kind of shadows from the stands and from the big stadium lights. And now the sun is down and the stadium lights are there, and they cause these kind of different shadows that kind of play tricks on your eyes right now when you're not used to the shadows from the stadium lights, especially transitioning back from the sunlight. It's much darker than you really are expecting. It's going to be interesting to see if there's not kind of like some weird bobbles or just kind of some weird shadow tricks in these next couple points.
Yeah, and very different environment than when we first showed up. I know that the Seattle boys got here around 4 o'clock, 4.5 hours ago. They were here cheering on the girls' team. And then, again, we've mentioned the Foggy Bottom boys competed in the tournament this weekend. So they played a couple of games earlier today, then drove over here, got here out in the heat. It's still hot out even though the sun is going down, but again, it's later. You've already played multiple games tonight. How can you continue to grind on the field athletically, but also keep your mental energy up throughout this long day?
And it looks like a flood play from Seattle. There's kind of this fake flood play where they flood and still have that open side cut. Jasper with the disc on the trap sideline. Big rip. Multiple people running. Seattle has a step and it pulls it down. Great rip and run down by Seattle. Dylan, I think, going with speed. It's really interesting. Jasper, multiple times, been making that as a cutter, coming under and then being able to rip it deep. You see Martin having space, and I'm sorry, Kai with that, going up with a great grab.
Yeah, we saw some great offense from Seattle. Before Jasper got the disc, we saw another fantastic grab from Soren. Again, he's been a huge player this day for Seattle. He's wearing those friction gloves out here today. Another sponsor of this tour. Great job out there, Soren, and great job, great hold for the Seattle offense.
And Kai, who pulled down that goal, is doing a great job of, like, you know, sometimes you don't always get those. Oh, there's those friction gloves. Those 206 friction gloves, those are sweet. Are those available? Soren, can you get me some of those? Because those gloves look like they make you have all those grabs. I don't know. I'm sorry. I just got excited. I've always wanted to play with gloves, and then I've like played with gloves, and I've thrown a turnover, and I've blamed the gloves. But that's mainly just because I threw into defenders. You know, Abby's giving me no help here. Sometimes when you throw turnovers as a thrower, you're just looking for something to blame. So right now, I'm just been kind of like on the edge of my seat because the Foggy Bottom boys and the DC team has been throwing some really great pull play sets. Some things that I have not seen before, or looks that look like a classic pull play that's actually a counter. And Tyler and the coaching staff of DC is just really playing this meta game that now coaches are scouting teams or are familiar with certain pull plays and how you can kind of call these meta pull plays. It's really exciting. Seattle coming down. Again, it looks like kind of a split stack with a flood, with a deep cut from the handler. Unmarked for a while. Seattle, I'm not sure if they're sagging or just switching right now. Trapped on the sideline. Big shot deep. 2 players there. Has a step though. Foggy bottom. And Jack flying in, and DC with a big-time goal and a big-time spike.
Again, number 23, Aaron Rosenthal, able to come out with that goal. We see him there going to shake the Seattle hand after that huge spike. And number 50, we have yet to talk too much about Matthew McKnight as he puts up this huge forehand. We see Seattle players making a huge effort, trying to get there. A fantastic throw and a fantastic grab from this DC team. This is exactly what the DC team needs at this moment. Now they're at 10-7, looking to build some momentum. They have an exciting play like that. A big throw from Matthew McKnight, able to generate some movement on this offense.
And McKnight has been doing a great job behind the disc, really working DC's offense and being a big threat to DC. It looks like there's going to be a timeout on the field just to kind of take some time, breathe, and think about how Seattle and DC wants to focus on for the next steps. We're going to take a short break and take a moment for our sponsors.
And welcome back to this exciting game with Seattle Silly Saurs and the DC Foggy Bottom boys. We just saw that huge forehand from Matthew McKnight. He was able to generate that deep look off of that big time forehand. Lately, we haven't really seen the DC boys able to kind of get some momentum. We've seen a couple deep throws coming from people standing, looking downfield, and then taking that shot. I'm excited to see if they can get maybe a couple more upline cuts. Maybe it's a swing to a break side look. Maybe it's like a little bit more movement, I think might generate these big, deep shots that we're seeing from the Foggy Bottom boys.
Yeah, I think the Foggy Bottom boys have such a menacing deep look and are finding really creative movement upfield to take those deep shots. And I agree, though, now the next step, too, is how can they create with break throws or handler-generated movement to also create this deep look. Foggy Bottom boys are doing an amazing job, though, of cutting deep. And I think it's just that second wrinkle of how do you get into those deep looks instead of just standstill hucks, but generating off of a break throw or an upline cut. I'm also really excited to see the kind of pressure the defense from DC is going to put on. Right now, Seattle has been also attacking deep, and both teams are saying, we love our deep game, and they're throwing subtle looks to kind of prevent the deep game, whether it's a junk look or whether these kind of straight-up marks. DC's been using their 3-3-1 to really try to slow down Seattle's deep looks, but hasn't been able to make Seattle go side to side. Their 3-3-1, Seattle's been able to respond by still attacking through the middle. If DC throws their 3-3-1, I'm really looking to make sure that Seattle gets slowed down and moving side to side and maybe even losing yards. It looks like it's a vert side stack. It's just a matchup person from DC. Great defense by DC, putting a lot of pressure. Seattle moving it side to side, not getting clean looks. Off to the sideline. Deep shot coming, not there. Jasper with the disc, been looking to shoot all day. High stall count. Dangerous moment. Asaf into space. Big shot. 2 players trailing. Great run and great throw. Whoa, the little bobble. Big time throw and a kick spike. Martin with that speed. What a great throw and great run. Martin with incredible speed. 2 DC players trailing. Kai with a great deep shot. Sprinting deep. Martin just turning on the burners. 2 DC players there helping and just out of the reach. And a bobble right there, but to continue to hold on. And then with the kick spike. Really impressive.
Yeah.
Great throw by Kai, too. I mean, DC has done a great job of making sure that there is always help. Actually, both teams have done a great job. When that huck goes up, there are 2 defenders trying to get there, making sure that they can sandwich if the disc floats. Right there, no chance because Kai just put it out flat and used Martin's speed to chase it down.
Yeah, and that's a big time point from Seattle. I think late in the game when you're up a couple points, it's hard to always be stepping on the gas. Sometimes you like take a little break, you get into these little lulls where you're like, oh, we've got the little bit of a buffer. We don't have to try that hard right now. But overall, I think Seattle is doing a fantastic job of just stepping on the gas every single time they step onto the field. Fantastic work from both teams right now. Excited to see, we've talked about these offensive sets from the DC Foggy Bottom boys. Excited to see what they have out there, but even if these sets, these pool plays that we see aren't working, can Foggy Bottom boys continue to generate these big shots that we've seen so far, or can they grind on these unders?
And their coach is doing an amazing job of making all these adjustments. I mean, that person defense was just such a gritty. I mean, the windows Seattle was thrown into were so tiny, and it's so hard and kind of disheartening as a defender to be like, we played really fantastic defense, and like they just played a little better offense. But I really like the person look from the Foggy Bottom boys and just like the gritty D that they played. Pull goes up. It looks like a side stack from the Foggy Bottom. It's a flood. High stall count. Break side throw. Great throw. Great upline cut. Big shot. A little floating. But easy come down with a great offensive hold. Again, so this is what you were just talking about, Abby. Trying to generate a little more aggressive deep shots from that handler spot. A great handler strike up line. Gets this in power position and be able to rip this disc high, floating, but just enough so there's no chance for the Seattle defense of player to make a play. It's just way too high, out of reach for the Seattle player. An easy grab for DC.
Yeah, Andrew London doing a fantastic job making that catch look easy. Even though it's difficult to track that disc, he's able to read it really well, go up early, make a fantastic grab. I believe that throw came from Matthew McKnight, again, number 50 on this Foggy Bottom boys team. He's done an excellent job taking those deep shots and putting them out to space for his teammates.
Yeah, McKnight is just ripping the disc, and he's also been pulling for the DC team, and we have not talked too much about these pulls, but these pulls have been huge arcing pulls into the end zone. Really underrated when you're thinking about the game of Ultimate, how much a great puller can help your defense set up in really strong positions.
Absolutely, and this is a big time point for this DC Foggy Bottom boys team. If they're able to come down, get a turn, I don't think we've seen them get a turn recently since the first couple points from halftime. If they're able to get a turn, ideally convert that into a score and build some more momentum. Right now we're seeing them play really well, but this is the time where you've got to step up and you've got to say, who's the person that's going to make this play? Is it going to be me? Is it going to be my teammate? No matter what defense you're doing, no matter like what you're doing on the field, now it's about how you're doing it. Are you putting in 100% effort on the sideline? Are you giving it your all? Talking to your teammates, pumping them up on the field. This is a big time for these DC boys to step up in this game.
I really appreciate that. There's so many times when you think about like strategy, or you look at strategy in these moments, or what's the X's and O's to like the magic wand that we can wave, and it really is a big moment on both the offensive and defensive end, where like it's not what you do, but how you do it, and putting forth that effort. There's a difference between running and sprinting, and it's really important that this kind of moment. Great break throw, Turner. A little bit of a travel call. I think that's a great travel call. I was going to shout it on the stream, but I was like, leave it on the field, Casey. Turner, looking back to the middle. Great grab, a little out of the reach of Asaf. Asaf in the middle. Upline strike, looking deep. Shot coming, low, fast one. Into the hands, and it pops out. A huge bid. Incredible speed to just get to the disc, and then an explosion for that layout. Pops out when the player hits the ground.
Unable to come up with it, but I believe that was number 43, Kai, on the Seattle team with a huge bid, and we see a big deep shot from Foggy Bottom Boys, unable to convert as there are 2 Seattle defenders in the way. Let's see if Seattle responds with another big shot that we're seeing in this game.
Seattle in a vert stack. Soren ripping it deep. Turner has a step. Great catch over the shoulder on the goal line. Foggy playing great defense. Can they get an end zone hold? Shot to the corner, layout. Unable to get it on, still on the goal line. Looking for an inside shot. Asaf pulling it in, toes in the line. Gritty point. You can tell both teams pushing themselves to the brink right now. Kai dumping it off the line. Turner throwing a tight window. Great effort by DC here to get a big layout. Darby doing a great job maintaining focus, picking up. Huge bid by Zaya. And then a beautiful inside shot up to space. Asaf then catching it and then finding the feet inbounds for the goal.
Exciting to see Asaf on the scoring end of that point for Seattle. I think Asaf has been doing work. I've loved watching his handler movement. I think that he's generated a lot of the momentum for the Seattle offense so far. It's fun to see him get into the stack when Seattle gets into their end zone and make that cut and get a little glory of his own. He's been a rock for the Seattle team, and super fun to see him scoring in that point. As we've talked about before, only going into his junior year of high school and a practice player on Seattle Sockeye. Looking forward to seeing what Asaf continues to do with Sockeye, but also as he continues to play in Youth Ultimate in the high school leagues around Seattle. A fantastic kid. Super happy to see him out here on this live Ultimate that we're providing for you.
So here we have, it's kind of the late game now, and DC is really looking to kind of generate a strong hold, and then looking to kind of generate a few breaks. Not a lot of ultimate to be played. It's a really kind of tough moment for the coaches to kind of set back and saying like, what we're doing is working, but the break chances, you don't get a lot in these kind of talented games. Last point got the D, and then just that huck was just a little too far. And with the Seattle players coming down, it's really tough, and I'm not sure how many more opportunities DC is going to get this game. DC in kind of a German with an ISO in the middle, swinging the disc to the far side. Timing's a little off right now in this point. Pushed back into the middle of their end zone. Really scary moment. Looking for a deep shot. Working down open side. Whoa, big layout. Hope everyone's okay. Got a little tangled up there. Foul called. Just tapped in. Great break off the line. High break. Seattle there. Great grab by DC. DC making some great movement side to side, also attacking deep, showing the versatility of their offense. Great break again. DC using that break side to really generate movement right at this point. Oh, and again an inside break. really showing the versatility of this DC offense. We've talked about their pull plays. We've talked about their ability to strike deep. We've talked about McKnight and his just kind of flick bombs. And at this point, DC really showing their ability to go sideline to sideline with multiple breaks. Look at that inside break to a cutter, going that cone. Really difficult throw. I think that was the 4th break of that point. Doing an amazing job of showing the versatility and the danger of this DC offense.
Absolutely a fantastic point for those DC Foggy Bottom boys. And now Seattle figuring out if they can respond. I know it's late in the game. It's hard to grind after you've been out here working so hard every single day. These DC Foggy Bottom boys coming off a tournament today. Seattle getting off the bus earlier today, traveling around the East Coast. It's been a long tour so far, and it's late into the game, figuring out how both of these teams have got to put in the effort to make these big plays. And I think that we're really impressive. We've seen some really impressive plays so far. Excited to see what these last few points, what these last 13 minutes have to offer in this game. There is still a lot of time to make up. If DC is able to get some quick turns and able to convert on those quick turns right away, I think we could still have ourselves a tight game coming up.
Completely agree. This is a really tight game. I know Seattle right now is up by 3, but this has been a fight the whole game. Right now, I've been loving DC's person defense. I feel like they're making Seattle throw in these tight windows and getting some high stall counts. We'll see what they have up their sleeves, but just no matter what, every point has been hard fought and just really impressive high-level ultimate. DC with the pull. Huge arcing pull into the middle of Seattle end zone. Seattle going side stack. Looks like a flood. Soren with the disc. To Kai. Kai looking for Jasper deep. Great mark by DC to prevent that throw. Upline strike from Asaf. Asaf has a player. DC closing, but unable to get there. Dylan pulling it down. And again, really interesting. There's so many counter punches in this game, and Seattle at this point really just fighting for the open side. It was open side to open side to open side to a strike up line to an open side throw. If I'm the DC coach, I'm a little frustrated, but Seattle's been working so hard and been showing off their break throws. Great touch throw by Asaf for Dylan to just run down.
Yes.
Has been shown off their break throws, but you know, in a point like that, I get a little frustrated that too many open side cuts got open there.
Some incredible touch throws we saw from that Seattle team right there. Not only the backhand from Asaf, but that throw that got to Asaf. He had tight pressure from those DC boys, but is still able to put it out in a space where he's able to run onto it. And I think Seattle is feeling pretty good at this moment. We can see Coach Henry Fan out there. He's a fantastic coach. He's one of the hype guys. You love to have him on your sideline. He's there and he's got your back whenever you want. He's also a great strategic mind, an incredible role model for these boys out there. And the Seattle boys so lucky to have him. Overall, Henry Fan, just a fantastic person. I know that we've all enjoyed getting to know him. Casey, you've known him for a long time.
Yeah, not only as a teammate, but Henry, growing up in Seattle, was a great youth player. I was lucky enough to coach him and know him when he was in middle school, and just a glowing ball of energy and a glowing ball of like positive energy. It is. I know DC has some amazing coaches too, and it's just so incredible that you have these coaches that are positive, sharing really some core values, not only just on the ultimate field and their knowledge, but just in terms of like how you build community, how you grow up as a human. It is just really powerful. I'm really lucky to have known Henry, but also just really am excited to see him kind of giving back to this youth community. Run through D. Tony looking to go fast break. Seattle on the doorstep. This would be a big break for them. DC really digging in, trying to fight and get this disc back. Swing far side. Tony with the disc. Looking for the end zone. Shot and a grab. Adkin again showing off his speed. Martin looking, Tony all over the place, getting this long swing with a quick check too, just to see where his handler was. It's just really interesting to see how you steal information. Tony finding his player, throwing out to space. Adkin again with speed, just running it down.
Incredibly impressed by that end zone defense that we saw from the Foggy Bottom boys. After a quick turnover, it's hard to know who you're guarding right away. And figuring out that on the fly, talking to each other, making Seattle swing the disc from side to side. An incredible work from the Foggy Bottom boys defense. Seattle still able to punch it in, but overall, you've still got to be happy. I know that that's not the possession that you want, throwing away that early throw, but still able to play defense, able to make Seattle take their 4th, 5th, 6th option. And someone that we haven't talked about too much on the Seattle team so far is Achilles. I saw him running down multiple times, the first person down on the mark, an incredibly active mark. Yesterday we saw him get a face block on a full field huck, sat out the rest of the game. Super excited to have him back out on the field for Seattle.
Completely. And, you know, we talk about certain players and accolades, but this is really a team sport. And when you talk to the players, there's so many stories and there's so many small things that each teammate does that really makes a team function. And when you remove one player, it just doesn't seem to spin the same way. Foggy Bottom boys and Seattle, just there's so much about a team in terms of support, effort, and just team defense. You know, one person might get the layout D, but it takes all 7 players working hard to make sure you generate those moments and generate the offense. Foggy looking deep. Moving up the open side right now, or I'm sorry, the break side. Great movement. Has one, takes a shot deep. Multiple people, big time grab. Going up. Getting that crowd back into the sport. Man, just climbing the ladder. Watching him just take off. Great throw to space. Can't believe it. Again, Foggy Bottoms, DC really showing off their speed and deep threat. Just a great throw down the line to a cutter. Coming again from that opposite third. They do such a creative job of creating these deep looks from like different spots that you're not usually seeing, but into great open space. And then getting up.
Getting up, we've seen some incredible catches from both teams. People going up with 2 hands, showing that they're able not only to get up with 1 hand, but get 2 hands on the disc, going up strong, able to keep their toes in line. And that's what you want as this DC Foggy Bottom boys continues to grind out this game. I know there's only a few minutes left, but this is an opportunity to DC push themselves late into the game. Again, they have a big season coming up, and this is the time where you've got to continue to grind and work for your teammates. Every point that you play is an opportunity to get better.
Absolutely, and I love that kind of mindset. Every point you have is an opportunity to get better. You know, continuing to fight, continue to grind, but also understanding that this is an opportunity for your team to get better, for you individually to get better, and making sure that each rep you do is you know, with that mentality. Each rep you do might not be perfect, it might not go the way you want, but having that mindset of this is helping me get better, this is a grind, and I want to have that same mentality is really incredible. A great spinning pull. I've been noticing the spinning pull. It's just been so much fun by Benjamin. You don't see a lot of spinning pulls. I always feel like you get dizzy in that moment. Oh, we're coming down in a kind of a 3-person cup or a little sag. Great kind of look to kind of mix up the tempo by DC. Let's see if they trap right here on the line. Jasper having the disc. Been doing a lot with his throws this game. Great inside break, finding Soren in that spot. Again, Seattle attacking through the middle in this zone. They've matched up now. Foggy Bottom doing a remarkable job in this transition out of their zone. Tough break, great grab. Another inside break. Seattle really finding those windows, but DC doing a great job of forcing tough looks right now. Throw and go, open side, looking for the end zone, for the goal, and a layout D. What a great bid. Oh my gosh, great offense, but better defense at that moment. What a gritty moment to get that D. What a great moment. And just, we talk about these goal line stands, and to just get the disc back and a great up line. Benjamin looking to shoot. Great patience, looking off the line. Stall count getting a little higher. Looking for that inside break. Great break around. Great composure at a high stall count. Big shot to the corner. Dylan getting up. What a great grab. Oh, what a big break. And you can hear the crowd getting back into it. That's a big energy. Not only that layout in the goal line, but then that big arcing forehand and DC getting up for that goal.
A fantastic job by the DC Bottom boys, showing that they are not done in this game. A huge layout D in the end zone, able to march it down the field. We saw incredible work moving it from sideline to sideline, and then this big forehand shot out into space. Some incredible work from this DC Foggy Bottom boys. Just fantastic work. 14-11. It's been a long day for them, and we are so excited.
And just thinking about that momentum, right? You know, Seattle on the doorstep, game point, looking to score, and if we can get a chance to see that layout D again, it's just really remarkable. And just not only to get that D and to stop that goal, but then to march it down and get that break. You can tell that the crowd has just come alive, the energy. DC having just kind of a little more hop in the step, and also letting them know we're not done with you yet, Seattle.
Definitely, and it was exciting to see that cup that we saw from the Foggy Bottom boys. Interesting that they brought it out so late in this game, but we saw not only some great work in that zone, but then a seamless transition into person defense, able to apply that pressure and then eventually get that block. Yes, you didn't get it in that defensive set that you first came down in that cup, but you're able to get it down in the end zone after you've transitioned into person. DC Foggy Bottom boys showing off their relentlessness on defense.
And again, a huge spinning pull. It looks like they're going to be in that transition junk again. Seattle moving it through the cup. This is kind of like a four-person trap zone where you have a mark and you kind of have a wall of people really kind of making it difficult. It looks like Foggy is doing a great job of transitioning around 5 passes. It's really flawless. It's very difficult to transition out of a 4-person cup into person, and they really do it quickly and flawlessly. Seattle in the disc with in the middle. Big layout. Seattle looking to shoot right now. Big swing off the line. Great break throw. Looks like a call. Pick was called. Doesn't affect. They're catching up. Tony throwing the continue. Nobis looking for his dump. Again, DC really digging in these moments, trying to play really kind of hard-nosed person D. Tony all over the place, flying up the line, and Turner grabbing the disc using handler-generated movement.
That's some incredible work from the Seattle Silly Saurs. Their offensive handlers doing some great work, moving the disc from side to side. Will Turner getting involved with the score. Tony doing fantastic job finding the open players. I saw Will Turner use a little hop hesitation as he was making that upline cut. That's something that I do all the time. It's an interesting move, but I love seeing other players use it sometimes. And overall, just a fantastic game from both teams. Great effort from Seattle and from DC.
And it was really cool to see Tony and Will be on one sideline and quickly move the disc to the other sideline. Fantastic job. Congratulations to both teams. I'm blown away at this kind of level of play, not only with the throws, the amazing hard-nosed person defense, the high-flying grabs and layouts, but also just the X's and O's from the fake floods to the fake counter plays to the kind of handler deep looks to the handler fake deep looks. It's just incredible to see where this game of Ultimate is. I as an announcer am going to kind of like take a step back, watch the replay, and just try to draw these X's and O's because just been blown away by the talent of both teams. And not only to play in this heat and then under stadium lights, but then shout out to Foggy Bottoms to coming from a tournament and to still have those legs. We got to see some talented Ultimate, not only in the boys game, but in the girls game. My heart is still racing from all the excitement. Right now, we get a chance to look back at this kind of end zone hold. Here we have the 5 ultimate play of the game, a float to space, looks like it's going to work, and just a monster bid by both players. But just to get that D, you can just see the heart and effort on their sleeves. A great 5 ultimate play of the game. And at this moment, I know not only the coaches are doing incredible work, and you see all the hard work of effort from the players today, the fans and the crowd coming out. It was really remarkable, but all of this tour would not be possible with some amazing sponsors. Thank you so much for making this tour possible, for like making Youth Ultimate and the skill of Youth Ultimate to get showcased here on the stream. Thank you so much, 5 Ultimate, Cut Ultimate Camp, Spike Ball, Got Your Back Seattle teams, Game Point Performance, Friction Gloves, and Aria Disc. In just a moment, we're going to go down and listen to the Aria Disc player of the game, but just to think about Aria giving back to the community. Not only are they donating discs, but they're thinking about ultimate values too, and how do we build different communities and give back to different communities with those values. And we're looking at players, and we're trying to highlight players not only who have incredible skill on the field, but also are giving back to their communities. We've gotten to hear from so many remarkable players, but so many remarkable humans who are helping out their communities. We're going to go down to the field with Abby Abramovich, who has the Aria player of the game.
Thank you to all the viewers who have been tuning in. We're so happy that we were able to stream this incredible game between the Seattle Silly Saurs and this incredible team. Right now I'm joined with Matthew McKnight, the Aria player of the game. We saw some incredible throws from Matthew this game, also some incredible spirit. Congrats on being the Aria player of the game, Matthew. And the fans want to know, what has the sport of Ultimate and its values meant to you so far?
To me, it's really been about intensity and honesty. It's really hard to balance, being honest while you're playing as, a true athlete, like trying as hard as you possibly can. And for me, like, I came from sports like football and hockey, where, honesty wasn't the priority. And Ultimate's really taught me to, be a better person, not just in sports, but also in life. And really taught me that honesty is always the first thing, even before winning, even before, anything else.
Absolutely, that's incredible to hear. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. We have our final 2 games coming at you tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Again, thank you to all of our viewers so far this tour.